It's another Wednesday and the Premier League Preview Show is back. Last week we were here handing out prizes, sharing goodies. Today we are not so generous. We'll not be giving goodies today. We'll give goodies later. My name is Nathan Carl. Benjamin and Katie will be joining me in a bit. But remember that the Preview Show is proudly brought to you by Premium Bank and Betway and proudly supported by Vodafone, Guinness and Slide Pay. We will be getting the show on the road. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we unpack the issues. We'll start off with the former champions, Leicester, and they seem to have a big problem on their hands. Stay tuned. Hi, we're back. My name is Nathan Carr. You're still tuned into the Premier League Preview Show live on Facebook, live on CTTV, and Benjamin and Ketia makes a return.
Hello.
Today you're not kitted in a jersey.
I got tired. I'm taking a break. Next time around, I want to just refresh.
We'll start from the bottom.
I also went on a Jersey international break.
All right. So Ben went on a break. The league went on a break. But they returned last week. And Ben, we all thought we would have another weekend, great football, talk about the star games, but there's another managerial casualty. Craig Shakespeare couldn't write his own brilliant story and couldn't put a nice conclusion to that story, and he's been fired. 4 months after getting the job on a permanent basis, things have not gone well for him. And there was that, but that hint wasn't too strong. Were you surprised by the news, and where do Leicester City go from here?
I mean, he made a brilliant point himself when he said that these days, a manager in the Premier League is 4 matches away from safety. And in the case of Leicester, they've gone 6 matches without a win.
Yeah.
If you want to count back to that West Brom Monday night game, that makes 6 matches without a win. And they find themselves at the very wrong end of the table. And this is just typical Leicester being Leicester. If you ask Shakespeare himself, he will tell you that in the season where Claudio Ranieri was the manager, the league went well, they won the title, fine. The next season when it didn't go well, the team found itself at the wrong end of the table for quite some time, and they felt that they should nip the situation in the bud before it spread out to be a disease that would become very difficult to root out. So it's simple. The narrative is simple. Trying to unplug the Leicester City problem now and bring in a replacement manager, which I think is fantastic because we are still not at the match day 10 mark yet.
Yeah, we're heading to match week 9.
Which I believe is the threshold for teams to really properly define their season.
That's like your first third,
first third
of
exactly,
the season.
After match day 10, you know why certain tactics are not working, certain player tendencies, what needs to be done. So it gives you a really good sense after match day 10 what to do. And I think that Leicester have pushed the right buttons. Yes, Shakespeare might have let them out of trouble, but really, the Premier League is as competitive as it gets these days. You need to win your matches. Like he said, I really do agree. 4 matches without a win is the beginning of a crisis.
So are you saying that should apply to every manager across the board? That if you go 4 matches without a win, the people who put you there should start thinking critically about what exactly you are doing there?
Ideally,
be it Jose Mourinho, be it Pep Guardiola, be it Roy Hodgson.
Ideally, that is what should happen. But we all know that reputations buy people time. And reputation means that you can afford to play the fool a little, walk down the corridor, and nobody can really question your abilities. But it only comes to the point where the team begins to take a step back and say, maybe we should have a deeper look at this one. But that's really different because in the Premier League, there are managers and there are coaches. So in the case of somebody like a Jurgen Klopp, a Pep Guardiola, or a Jose Mourinho, they have complete control over everything
that happens.
From who comes into the academy to who gets hired as the first team coach.
And you think it may not be the same at Leicester?
No, in the case of somebody like Shakespeare, he was merely a coach. So he really did not have that much control of the team as he would have loved. So the circumstances are different, but we've seen that even in the case of top level managers, when the team feels as if the investments made are not being recouped, the maths will just be yanked.
With the Ranieri episode, there was talk of player dissatisfaction. They didn't like the new turn the manager was taking, and eventually the players and management kind of came together to get rid of Claudio Ranieri. In this case, what hasn't worked for Shakespeare? Because his team has played some very positive football. They've not had the requisite rewards. What could have gone wrong?
Again, if you ask me, this looks like a bad situation on surface value, but there was every reason to believe that Leicester were going to emerge from this slump. Now, you look at their match fixtures or the fixture list for them so far, and they practically, if you take aside Crystal Palace, they practically had the most difficult run so far this season. They played Arsenal already, they played Tottenham already, they played
Man United.
Very difficult matches.
Yeah.
So, and these are games where they actually did fare well. They didn't play badly at all in these matches. They fared extremely well, and I felt that it was just a bad stretch for them. They were going to find their groove once again. They're just unfortunate to have faced a very tough round of matches. Leicester really should have had a little more patience, but they just feel as if, and in my head, let me be very honest, in my head, I never really looked at Shakespeare as a permanent manager for Leicester.
Okay, you always thought that somebody else.
In my head, he always occupied an interim spot, and Leicester were always going to look for somebody with a bigger reputation. It's happened, and I just think that it really was coming.
Any candidates in your mind?
Talking about candidates.
Not Frank de Boer.
Maybe Big Sam. Big Sam comes.
Allardyce.
He just comes to mind as one who might want to return to the coaching ranks as soon as possible. Leicester City. I might be tempted to say a Roberto Mancini
yeah.
if he is handed the type of money he would like. But as of now, nothing really concrete. I think that it could go either way. And Leicester City, we did not see Leicester hiring Ranieri. They could just go up and pull off another surprise.
Ranieri is in France. He works with FC Nantes these days. So we'll see what happens to Leicester. They play Swansea this weekend, and it'll be Michael Appleton who'll be handling the team on a temporary basis as they try to figure out where they go next. Former Premier League owners trying to clear the mist, trying to find their way through the haze. But let's talk about Ben, some of the games this weekend. We've got Chelsea, Watford. And Chelsea are hoping that things work for them. They've not won in a while. They lost to Man City, lost to Palace. Now they are welcoming Watford to Stamford Bridge. It will be on the back of a Champions League tie. What kind of game are we to expect? Should it be a performance where they just go in and play just about any type of football to get the win, or they need to put out a good performance? Because people are beginning to wonder if they can actually defend their title this season.
What was I telling you at the start of the season?
That Chelsea wouldn't defend their title.
That based on the sort of chaos I had witnessed, and based on the sort of unpreparedness that their preseason showed us, it really was not going to be that sort of campaign for them. They were not going to win the title. And I mean, somebody might say that it's early days yet, because this time around last season, Chelsea were still stuttering, they're still finding their form. Guess what? They have 13 points on the board. Manchester City already have 22 points, if I'm right. And that's a huge gap already, about 9 points or so between them already. And Chelsea have conceded 8 goals in the season. Lost 3 matches already, and it's not even December yet. They've lost 3 matches as defending champions in 8 matches. And that for me does not ring championship caliber at all.
Okay.
Give or take what it is. I feel that by the time Christmas gets here, if Chelsea lose another match, that title charge is over.
Last week we had a nice discussion about Michy Batshuayi. You made a case for him. I thought he needed an opportunity, but last week Saturday, what he put out there would not convince any manager. Some people believe it would not convince any manager to give him a second chance.
Let me just say this, that Chelsea, in they've put out some of the weirdest performances I have witnessed this season. For instance, in that game against Manchester City, they were absolutely flat. And then in their last match that I witnessed again, a 2-1 defeat, they just were not in it for me at all from the beginning. The team just seems to lack some creative spark, some excitement. It's almost as if players are not as excited to run or as excited to chase the ball. There's just something amiss from the team that is not just tactical. It's not just tactical. It's just something. It's just some soul that seems to be away from the team.
They won't have N'Golo Kante around. We saw his impact, or the absence of his impact, the other week. Now, Watford come into this on the back of a 2-1 win against Arsenal, and they will be, thinking that, hey, we could actually go to Stamford Bridge and cause a problem. Do they have the quality? We know that they have the mental strength and the physicality to try and attempt, but won't Chelsea try to just putting any kind of performance to win, or Chelsea should be ready for a very funny afternoon?
Well, I'm sure that if you see Watford at the start of the season and they are a top 4 team as we speak now,
Yeah.
you will not be going into that game to put out any kind of performance. And guess what? They've been the best team in the last 10 minutes of matches this season. So this is a team that gets back into games in the final minutes of games. They have the tendency to score a game winner in the final 10 minutes of matches as well. So we're already talking about a very mentally resilient team.
Okay.
And a team that believes that as long as there are minutes on the board, anything can happen in the game of football.
When we saw that against Arsenal.
They've built their confidence by playing Arsenal. They've played Liverpool already, and they've got some fantastic results against those sides. Why will they not fancy their chances against a Chelsea team that is looking like this? And it's interesting you should talk about N'Golo Kante. And we all said that Bakayoko was really going to be it for Chelsea. He's shown early signs that he will be a good player for Chelsea, but he will not be that finished product this season. Now, what does he do? Matic brings you the job of a specialist. He knows how to play that anchor man role, box-to-box man role efficiently. Bakayoko is a bit more of an all-round central midfielder who can do little bits of everything, but isn't quite the specialist yet. So, I mean, what you get in Matic, you don't necessarily get in Bakayoko. Yes, I think that he will eventually grow into that role, but I mean, he's miles beyond, miles behind Nemanja Matic, and that's how come Chelsea have suffered, especially in the matches where Kante hasn't played. The defense have been exposed. There's just been too much attacking onslaught for them to deal with on a regular basis. They've not been able to soak it up. They will have to find ways to make sure that central midfield battle is theirs. That's the first thing they need to do. They need to get to every 50-50 ball. They've not done that in the matches I've seen. They've just looked flat. They've been rolled over. They don't make enough take-ons. They don't make enough runs at the opponent. They don't try to hold the ball up enough. It's almost as if when Alvaro Morata got taken out,
everything just
the
collapsed.
whole thing just dimmed, and that's really unfortunate because I look at Chelsea more as a team that is greater than the sum of its parts. If it's going to be like this, they might lose a record number of matches this season.
We'll see. Chelsea will have to try and get a response at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea taking on Watford. That's our first game on Saturday. Huddersfield will welcome Man United, and United are hoping that they can get points on the board. They drew last time out at Liverpool. They are hoping that they can get a win at the promoted side. Southampton and West Brom will complete our lineup on Saturday. But on Sunday is where the juicy games are. We start off with Everton versus Arsenal, and then two teams who are, I won't say all over the place, but two teams who need a direction. They need something to wake them up.
I don't think anything can wake Arsenal up.
Why?
Arsenal are eternal sleepers. You could bring a cane or a whip and whip them into life, and the moment you turn around and walk away, they will slump and sleep again. That's the sort of team Arsenal have become, really. And Arsenal fans know it. I know it. That performance against Watford, that typically is what has derailed and defined Arsene Wenger's last
60
decade.
minutes it works.
His last decade
30 minutes is horrible. And you lose all the points.
And I really ask myself, where is the fight? Where is the tenacity? Where is the desire to make things happen, to make fans happy, to be passionate about winning? I just don't get it from Arsenal, really. And these days, you know what? Back 3-4 years ago when Arsenal were still acting up and doing everything by what they should have been doing, at least there was one thing that was consistent: the pattern of football, the signature football that Arsenal brought to the table. That, my brother, has even been fractured now. Even that
so you're saying that Arsenal have lost a bit of an identity. You talk about that, and
maybe it comes to the change in formation.
Maybe it does. It segues brilliantly into Everton, who seem to also have problems finding a kind of way to play. We've established that Ronnie Koeman is bang on certain.
He wasted Everton's money in the transfer.
Yes, I think that some of the decisions he made were really horrible. Buying too many players to play in too many similar positions. He's not giving them a dynamic. Moving on, we know he should make changes, but why is a player like Kevin Mirallas, for example,
I was about to come to that,
not getting the minutes? Because he provides a very different dynamic. Omar Niasse should be playing a bit more. They need to jazz up that midfield slightly just to get teams to predict or to try and guess. But now they are too easy to break down. Don't you think Arsenal will have more quality for them? Or for Everton, there's a game where they look at the occasion and say, aha, this could be the day when we get a big win and we kick on from here.
It could be. We all know that I have a soft spot for Ronald Koeman, but I really think he's heading for the edge of the cliff. I think that he's about to get fired.
Is it Dutch stubbornness that's killing him?
I really don't know, because he made very weird signings, I must admit. Sandro Ramirez was an extremely weird signing for me to go waste your money on. Quite a number of very funny players brought in that have not had the level of impact. And for me, every time I watch Everton, the narrative is clear. You have good combative central midfielders who know how to win balls, free up the play and set the wings on fire. You have Aaron Lennon consistently on your bench. You have Kevin Morales consistently on your bench.
Yes.
And you are consistently struggling to play through the middle. And I really don't...
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm asking myself, when are Everton truly going to couch that identity that will ensure that they go on a 5, 6, 7 game streak? I don't see it coming, to be honest. If I look at this team and the football they've played this season, I don't see it coming. There's no creativity in the team. There is no leadership in this team. Moreover, it's just when Rooney is not even leading. It's just
the
a bunch of
properly.
Guys wearing blue jerseys going out there to play football.
It's just no heart, no soul, no fight, no bite.
And we all know. Let's be honest. We all know that Ronald Koeman, yes, is brilliant tactically. He might be brilliant with maybe halftime team talks and whatnot, but he is not the best motivator. His man management skills are poor, really. And you notice it in the Oumar Niasse situation where, look, regardless of what has happened in the past, regardless of how much embarrassment he faced as a result of non-selection, Sandro Ramirez really isn't cutting it now.
It looks like it's Oumar Niasse who...
You should swallow some pride and throw Oumar Niasse in there and see if it gives you results. If Koeman insists on going down this path where things are not working, but things will not be tweaked,
he will lose
radical decisions will not be made to turn their tide around, I'm sorry to say that he will be the next man to be fired.
Okay, so that's what's happening there. Fantastic tie on Sunday. Is that Goodis impact? Everton were coming out now. A few years back, you'd have had the likes of Leon Osman and Co. Roman, Stephen P9, Maran Fellaini doing damage. They've moved on to do other things there. But then let's just round up our Sunday, and then I'll come back read messages before we go for a break. There's a tantalizing fixture really between Spurs and Liverpool, and the fact that it's at Wembley makes it even more open. Cup feel, vibe, cup final vibe and everything. We say that these two teams they have the quality to hurt Manchester City. Now they need to hurt each other on Sunday. Clash of managers who love the high press, love the intensity. Yeah. What kind of game are we to expect?
Guess what? It's a neutral game. And it's a cup final.
It's at Wembley.
It's at Wembley, so it's a neutral game, and I fancy Liverpool to win this.
Okay.
Especially after thumping Maribor by 7 goals. I expect that Liverpool really will come back with some much needed motivation from that game, because it had just come to the point where it was more about restoring the belief in oneself that they could get the ball in the back of the net, even more than the fact that they could not defend.
So for Liverpool,
I was beginning to get nervous.
So from what you're saying, that they should rather think about scoring
now.
Just score.
Because, I mean, there was that myth created that Liverpool didn't have offensive issues. But this season, they've clearly had offensive issues. They've created...
scoring.
They've created more chances than
wasted more.
And wasted more than any other team in the league this year. And that's unacceptable. And you're playing against a Tottenham team that's extremely disciplined. Practically the most disciplined team in the Premier League. At the end of the season or midway through the season, the numbers will tell you that they'll probably be boasting the best attack and the best defense at the same time. They've done it 2 seasons running. There's no reason to believe they won't do it again. Now, what sort of game are we to expect? I'm expecting Tottenham Hotspur to come out there and play a balanced game. Balanced game meaning that they will temper attack with defense as and when the circumstance matters. Liverpool, however, will try to impose their pace on this game, basically because, like we always say here, they cannot really influence a match after 60 minutes of play based on the style of football. Now, I believe that usually we spoke about the likes of Sadio Mane and Coutinho being the key guys. Guess what? I think that Alberto Moreno is Liverpool's key player so far for me this season.
Who thought we'd be hearing this? Alberto Moreno.
He's been Liverpool's most consistent performer. He's been in there for them. Champions League matches, cup matches, league matches. He's put in stellar performances.
You mentioned that. That's great. From a Spurs perspective, last night they were at the Bernabeu, probably the biggest ground they will ever play in. They walked away with a point. Well, would they look at that result and say, we are growing as a team and at home when we play Liverpool, we should remember the occasion from Tuesday and give it the same amount of industry.
I mean, this fixture between Liverpool and Spurs has gone in favour of Liverpool in recent times. There's been a 5-1, there's been a 3-0
Some of the results,
one result, AVB
got fired
after
one of those results.
The truth of the matter is, Tottenham should not be saying things like, we are grown as a team. They should look at themselves and say, we have arrived. We really have played in the Champions League against Real Madrid.
You think that they need to start seeing themselves as big boys?
They really have arrived. If you keep thinking that we are going to get there, you might really never get there. And
so
Liverpool have been grappling with that situation.
So they should see themselves as big boys.
We really have arrived. And I think that Tottenham have a better claim to that stake than a team like Arsenal, at least in recent times. So they really, really, really should look at themselves as a team that are the favourites. Come into this game thinking that this is my game to lose and I'm going to dictate the terms of this encounter. You watch that game against Real Madrid, you just can tell how much Mauricio Pochettino has matured as a manager. He didn't go into that game against Real Madrid going to park the bus.
He went in there to win.
He actually went there jabbing. He went there matching them boot for boot, and he really could easily have walked out there with a win. It just gives you a sense that Tottenham really have nothing to fear. If they can rub shoulders with the biggest guns in Europe, which we all doubted, why can they not come back to Wembley and reciprocate that performance? Okay. The only problem is that Wembley has proven to still be a boogie ground in the league matches. Liverpool love these type of atmospheres. Large stadium, large crowd, painted red. They're just going to come and do their thing.
Benjamin tipping Liverpool for that one. Send us your thoughts. I'll be reading a lot of the messages when we come back. But what is breaking now, if you love the Black Starlets, is that they've just finished their game against Niger. They beat Niger by 2-0. Erikeya and Richie Danso. And I'm sure later in the week when we talk about the stars and the sports panorama, we'll keep hammering on that point that Danso should be playing a bit more. But it's the Premier League Preview Show, live on Facebook, live on City TV. We are back in a few moments. A quick turnaround. I'll go through your messages and then we'll be taking the show home.
They'll go with a 4-4-2 diamond formation for that early lead. An early goal will settle the nerves.
Their away team has been in bad form. They will feel the pressure.
The home side's kept 2 clean sheets in a row.
It's all about momentum.
Who will have the stamina to last the 90 minutes?
Their star striker is suspended.
They've got no kappa.
The marking will be tight.
This will be won or lost in the midfield.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet. Betway, for the love of the game.
Inside the last minute of the opening 45 here. And,
Scores. 1. Who? Red. Blue.
What? Scores! What a way to finish the first half!
Scores. Halftime.
Scores!
We hope dream, we play. We are fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
Hi, we are back. My name is Nathan Kwao. It's the last leg of the Premier League Preview Show live on Facebook, live on City TV. Let me go through your comments. So, our preamble of the day was, who is going to stop Manchester City? And Amanama Lawrence says Chelsea will soon take over. Okay. Samosaki says it's only Liverpool who can stop them in the second round. In that. Okay. This one is from Boating Esiama, our very good friend from Cambodia, Ben. He's back.
Phnom Penh.
Yeah, he's watching us from Phnom Penh. He says Starlets are doing well. Yes, they won by 2-0. Wow, Ziba says, I think Shakespeare should have been given much time. Besides, it's just a few games that have gone by. If your money were into a Premier League team, you'd understand. And yeah, easy. Let's go on. Nana Ama Frakoma has sent us a smiley face, smiling back to you. Keep watching. Next time, drop a comment, and we'll get down to that. Jill Cyril Tino says Chelsea to trash Roma tonight. Oh, that's Chelsea in the Champions League. Eboama says, don't worry, let's wait for the second round. Media, Man City, I know they will drop points. We'll see about that. Emmanuel Sarah says, is it not strange that, but we've mentioned the Ghana Black Starlets. Oh, man. Okay. Ania Rasmon says, I don't think Spurs have arrived. They still commit mistakes that can easily get punished by any team. Fifi Ellie is asking, when is Man City going to play Man United? That game is in December. I think it's on the 9th of December. We'll be having a fantastic event. Just stay tuned. Talking about events, November 5, we had AM and PM. Ben, I'm sure by the time we are done, AM and PM won't exist anymore. We'd have torched it.
Exactly. And
in the words of Rick Ross.
Exactly. And that's exactly the sort of vibe we are providing for the road shows. And the funny thing is that you can come to a road show and walk away with a fantastic prize. You never know what you are going to win these days when you walk into a road show. So where would you rather be? I mean, you've watched football in your sitting room.
November 5,
just come out of your house. Luxurious setting.
Everything is everything. That's a perfect setting, man. Somebody's mentioning the hostesses. Yeah, you meet the hostess. You know, when we put out the artwork, somebody was asking us, will the lady in the picture be there? More will be there. Better show up with your friends, have fun. I'm telling you, it should be good. Ben, let's run through the predictions. So we've got 6 games on our Talk Sport and Premier League menu live on City FM this weekend. Let's start off with Friday night. Friday night, West Ham versus Brighton. Who's winning?
Looks like a draw to me.
Draw.
Like a score draw.
Score draw.
Yeah.
Okay, pressure back on Village. Chelsea Watford.
Chelsea Watford looks like a score draw to me as
Interesting. Huddersfield versus Man United.
United win this one.
Okay. Southampton versus West Brom. That's Saturday at 4:30.
West Brom to win this.
Wow. Everton Arsenal. Sunday at 12:30.
Goodison Park?
Yes.
Everton win this.
Okay. Big one. Spurs Liverpool.
Liverpool win this.
Scoreline.
3-1.
3-1. Wow. Wow. We'll see. We'll hold you to that.
3-1.
We'll hold you to that. We'll see how that one goes. We're back next week. My name is Nathan. It's been a fantastic preview show. Thank you very much for joining us, and catch us again, and we'll catch you again next Wednesday. Remember that the show was live on Facebook, live on City TV, and proudly brought to you by Betway and Premium Bank, and proudly supported by Slide Pay, Vodafone, and Guinness made of more. My name is Nathan Kwao. We'll catch you next Wednesday. Take care and stay blessed.